you see here, 10 has 2 and 5 as a factor, and 30 has 2 and 5 as factor. So 2 is a common factor of 10 and 30. 5 is a common factor of 10 and 30. But the greatest common factor is 10, is 2 times 5. So we write it as GCF, greatest common factor of 10 and 30 equals 10. Okay, so we write this way. Greatest common factor of 10 and 30 are 10. Well, let's see 12 and 16. Right? What is the greatest common factor of 12 and 16? Well, 12 do factor prime factorization. So that's 2 times 2 times 3. 16 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So we see 2, 2, 2, 2. So 4 is the greatest common factor of 12 and 16. So that's to do with numbers. What about with expressions? What about those nomials, polynomials? Let's first look at monomials. Right? So we have two monomials. We have 4 times xyz. We have 8 times xy. So what do they have in common? We see 4a can be, so let me write one more step of this. So a can be written as 2 times 4, right? So we see 4, I'm going to highlight. 4 is a common factor of those two expressions, or those two monomials. And the x, y are common factors of both, right? So 4xy is a factor of 4x by z. 4xy is a factor of 8xy. So that's why the common factor is, the greatest common factor of 4xyz, and the 8xy is 4xy. Well, let's see those ones. Right. So 4 again is common factor. X squared is common factor. Y squared is common factor. So the greatest common factor of those two monomials is 4x squared, y squared. We'll see 21x cubed, 9x squared. Well, we see 3 times 7, 21, 3 times 3, 9. So 3 is a common factor. And x squared is common factor. So 3x squared is common factor, greatest common factor of those two. We have 21x cubed, 9x squared, 15x. So 3 monomials. Again, we see 3x is a common factor of those 3. Greatest common factor of those 3. This one we have a squared b cubed, c to the 4th power, ab squared, c cubed, then ab. Well, what's the greatest common factor? It's ab. AB, because everyone has A, everyone has B as factors. Anyone has any questions? Okay, what about polynomial? What about polynomial? So this we call distributive property, right? If you have A times B plus minus C, that's AB plus minus AC. Basically, we distribute A. We multiply A with the inside parentheses, with the terms inside parentheses. But when we do factoring, we do the other way around. If we have AB plus minus AC, we see A is a common factor of those two terms. Right? This is binomial. So A is a common factor of this binomial. So that means we can factor A, then put a parenthesis around the rest. Right? So A now becomes a common factor of B and C. Let's see this example. We have 2b plus 2c. We see 2 is a common factor. Then we write down b plus c inside the parentheses. Because the greatest common factor of 2b, 2c is 2. All right. Let's see some polynomials, monomials. 4xy, 2x squared y, greatest common factor 2xy. This term with ABC in it, this term with ABC in it. We see -5 is a common factor. Right? Then we see a squared is a common factor. Then the first one has a b cubed, but the second one only has a b. So the common factor is a b. So c term will have a c to the 5th power, c to the cube, so c to the cube. Let's see these two greatest common factor, this one and this one. Again, 3 is a common factor. W is a common factor. X raised by 4 is a common factor. Then Y is a common factor. So when we look for common factors, we're looking for the lowest exponent. So 3 as a factor, W as a factor, X raised by 4 as a factor, then just Y, right? So 3W, X to the 4th power, Y as a common factor. That's it. That's a, to look for greatest common factor. Anyone has any questions? This is a look for monomials. Actually, trinomial, factor trinomial. Before talking about factor trinomial, let me see. Yeah, let's do some more examples of this. GCF. Let's see, we have first term is x minus 1. Second term might be 3x minus 3. Someone has questions? Let me check. Why was it to the power of 4? Okay, let's go back to see why. Okay, you see this one is to the power of 4, right? This one is to the power of 5. So x to the 4th power is a factor of this first one. X to the 4th power is the second one. But if we choose x raised to 5, this one, we don't have x raised by 5 is a factor. Does that make sense? Because x raised by 5 can be written as 4, x raised by 4 times x. Okay, so when we look for common factors, we look for the lowest exponent. Okay, now let's see these two terms. What is the greatest common factor of those two? I see that's x minus 1. Right? Why? Because 3x minus 3 can be written as 3x minus 1. Then we see x minus 1 here as a factor, x minus 1 here as a factor. So that means x minus 1 is a common factor and no any other factors, common factors. So the greatest common factor of those two expressions, those two binomial, is x minus 1. Anyone has any question? Let's see more. Okay, let's see more. Let's see now. Maybe I have 2a minus 2b. Let's see, minus 4b and 6b minus 4a. All right, how do we find the common factor of this? Greatest common factor of this? We can rewrite. So the first one we can write as 2, because we see 2 is a common factor. We write as 2 times a minus 2b, right? In the second term, we see 2 is a common factor. Oh, hold on. That's not what I want. I want to write this as 4b, this as 2a. Okay. 4b, 2a. That's what I want. The second one, we also see 2 is a common factor. Right? We can factor out the 2b minus 8. Right? We just factor out 2 from each expression, from each binomial. Please type in the everyone, so I don't have to jump around. So everyone can see your question. So Ajeda is asking, would it be 2ab? That's a very good question. All right, would it be 2ab? Let's see. What is the relationship with a with b? So 2a minus 4b. So this is a binomial. We don't have a multiplied by b, do we? So this is two terms. This is called a binomial, two terms. Binomial. This is a binomial. All right. So I see from the first binomial, I can factor out 2. Then it becomes 2 times parentheses a minus 2b. And the second term, I also can factor out 2. Then I get 2b minus 8. Now, we have to consider what is the relationship between a minus 2b and 2b minus 8. The second one, we can rewrite as negative 2 a minus 2b. Okay? If we factor out, we still have negative 2a. We still have positive 4b. So we still have 4b minus 2a. But now I made a common factor. A minus 2b, a minus 2b. So the two expressions have the same. So the greatest common factor of those two. Oh, I don't write that. Is equals to a minus 2b. Okay, so take a look of this. Take a close look of this. But I'm going to give you an example of two expressions has 2ab as a common factor, okay, to compare with this. Let's see. I'm going to add from the top. Let's see, find GCF of 4ab 6a squared b. Okay, let's see these two. These two, the common factor would be 2ab. Let's see why. 2, so 4 is 2 times 2, 6 is 2 times 3. We have a here, a square here. A square can be written as a times a. So of course a is a factor. And b is here, b is here. So 2ab is a common factor. Greatest common factor. But here we have binomial. We have two terms of 2a minus 4b, or 4b minus 2a. The relationship, so those two are called additive inverse. If we add those two, we get 0. We're looking for common factor. Oh, actually, common factor is 2. Greatest common factor, greatest common factor. So we're looking for greatest common factor. You see 2 is also a common factor. 2 is here, 2 is here. So 2 also a factor. So the greatest common factor is 2a minus 4b. Does this make sense, Ajeda? Okay, all right. Right. Make sure we're on the same page. Make sure you ask me questions. Yeah, so this is a little bit confusing, all right? Because I think we need to know this. This is binomial. Binomial. Okay, let's see how do we factor trinomials. Right, we start with a quadratic. So especially for quadratic trinomial. Trinomial means we have 3 terms. Quadratic means the leading term has a degree of 2. So the leading term has a degree of 2. Trinomial means we have 3 terms. X squared is one term, bx is one term, c is one term. And usually b is a number, c is a number. All right. How do we factor this? If we factor this, we have, let's see, we have m and n are 2 factors of c. That means x squared plus, so this equals x squared plus m plus nx plus m times n. All right. Let's do a couple of exercise. Let's say we have x plus 2 times x plus 1, right? We FOIL. We do first one times first one, right? So the first one, the first group has x plus 2. The second group has x plus 1. So we do the first one in the first group times the first one in the second group, x times x, we get x squared. Right? Then the second one in the first group times, times the first one in the second group, that's 2x, right? So we use both of these times the first member in the second group, we get x squared plus 2x. Now we use the second member multiplied by the 2. So we get 2 times x, which is 2x. 2 times 1, which is just 2. Right? So you see we have x squared plus 2 plus 1x plus 2 times 1. So that is to say this. If we have x plus m, x plus n, and the term we get is x squared times m plus nx plus mn. Right? So follow that, we see that's 2 plus 1x plus 2 times 1, which equals to x squared plus 3x plus 2. In this case, m equals 2 and n equals 1. Anyone has any questions? Okay, so basically this is a rule of thumb. Okay, if we have 2 binomials multiply each other, the first term is first one times the first one. The second term is, 2 factors add together of x. Then the last term constant is the 2 factors product of those 2 factors, m times n. Let's see this example. X minus 2 times x minus 1. So m is negative 2, n is negative 1. So we do x squared plus negative 1 plus negative 1. Negative 2 plus negative 1, which is negative 3. Then negative 2 multiplied by negative 1, which is positive 2. Let's keep moving. So we have x plus 2 times x minus 1. Now m is positive 2, n is negative 1. Well, m plus 1 is 2 plus negative 1. m times n is 2 times negative 1. So we get x squared plus x minus 2. Now m equals negative 2, n equals positive 1. Right? So we get x squared plus m plus n, negative 2 plus 1, negative 1. Then negative 2 multiplied by 1, which is negative 2. So with these 4 examples, we just change plus minus sign. And then the result is totally different. right? The result is totally different. Anyone has any questions? So just be careful with the difference, all right? So when you read the notes, you see this is a positive, positive, negative, negative, positive, negative, then negative, positive, all right? Because of negative, positive signs in different are different, so the result is different. Something called perfect square. So when m equals to n, we have x plus m times x plus m, and we write it as x plus m raised by 2. And this means x squared plus m is 2m. M times m is m squared. And we call this perfect square, which is square the first one, square the second one, multiply the first and second, then double it. Right? So let's see. If we have x plus 5 squared, we square x, get x squared. We square 5, we get 25. We multiply 5 with x, we get 5x. We double it, multiply by 2, we get 10x. When this is a negative, we do the same thing. We square the first one, we square the second one. The second one is negative 5 in this case. Negative 5 squared is still positive 25. Then we multiply the first term with the second term, get negative 5x. Then multiply by 2. That's negative 10x. Any questions? Let's see this one, x minus 2 squared. Okay. So we could have x squared, then plus negative 2 squared. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. Then multiply those two. We have x, we have negative 2. So that's negative 2x. Double it. Double it means multiply by 2. We get negative 4x. Well, let's see. We change the sign to be plus. We still have first one squared, second one squared. We multiply those two, get 2x. We double it, we get a 4x. Well, x minus 8. We still get the first one squared, second one squared. Multiply 2, double it, negative 2ax. X plus a squared. X squared the same, a squared the same as above. But now we get a positive 2ax. Above the negative 2ax. Because this is x minus a, this is x plus a. Any questions? Well, let's see this one. We have 2x plus 1 squared. The first term is 2x. Okay. The first term is 2x. We follow that, right? We do the first term 2x squared. How to move this down now. Then plus the second one square. Well, 1 square is just 1. Then plus the second plus. Usually we write the middle term in the middle. Then multiply those two. 2x multiplied by 1 is 2x. Then double it. That's 4x. Right? Plus 4x. Oh, actually, I should write 2 times 2x. Right. Multiply 2x with 1. So x equals to, what do we get? Right, this one is just follow it. Say, okay, the perfect square is doing square the first term. First term in this case is 2x. Then square the second term which is positive 1, square still 1. Then multiply those first one, second one. Multiply 2x with 1, still 2x. Then double it, means multiply by 2. So what do we get? We get 4x squared times 4x plus 1. Now, I'd like you to take a couple of minutes to try this. Okay, leave those 3 for you. So 2x minus 1 squared, 3x minus 2 squared, 3x plus 2 squared. Okay, maybe even do one more. 3x minus 2y squared. Oops. I'm going to copy and paste. Minus 2y squared. Okay, everyone try this for perfect squares. So we use 5 minutes also. Great. Yeah, agenda has 4x squared minus 4x plus 1. As for the first one, perfect. By law or below, you don't need to put parentheses around 4x squared, but it doesn't matter. Kiana has 9x squared minus 12x plus 4 for the second one. Great. Okay, so 2 more to go. Right, the third one is plus. So get 9x squared plus 12x plus 4. Great, last one. Kiana has 9x squared minus 12xy plus 4y squared. Pilar has the same thing. Great, that's right. Yes. 9x squared plus 4y squared. The middle one, so 3x times 2y, negative 2y, that's negative 6xy. Then double it, that's negative 12xy. Okay, great. Good job, guys. Thank you. Let me change this one, actually. Use this notation. Now, in general, we have x plus m times x plus n. So we get x squared plus the middle term gets from adding the two factors. So m plus nx. The last term, because this is trinomial, right? Trinomial, we have x squared term, we have x term, we have a constant term. The constant term is m times n. So let's say this. We have x plus 2 times x minus 1. So we do x squared. Then m is 2, n is negative 1. We add those two. So 2 plus negative 1. That is 1x. So 1x or x. Then 2 times negative 1, we get negative 2. Let's see, we have x minus 2, x plus 1. Right? So minus 2 plus 1, we get negative 1. Minus 2 times 1, we still get negative 2. Well, what's the difference between those two? This one will have positive 2, negative 1. But this one will have negative 2, positive 1. So here the middle term is positive. Here the middle term is negative. Let's see. So if we want to factor this trinomial, now we're thinking, okay, what is m, what is n? M plus n is 23. M times n is 42. But then we think about the factors of 42. Which two factors of 42 adds up to be 23? Think, okay, that's 2 and 21. Because 2 plus 21, that's 23. Bingo, right? So we factor x squared plus 23x plus 42 as x plus 2 times x plus 21. Now let's see, we have the middle term is negative. If a middle term is negative, the constant term is positive, we know we have two factors to be negative. M and N has to be negative. Because negative times negative will be positive, and negative adds negative will be negative, right? Indeed, negative 2 times negative 21 give us positive 42. Negative 2 plus negative 21 give us negative 23. So we write it as x minus 2 times x minus 21. Anyone has any questions? Let's keep moving. Let's see this one. M plus N. Okay. M plus N is positive 19. Right, let's write here. So M plus N equals to positive 19. And M times N equals to negative 42. We're thinking negative 42 can be factored as two factors. Right? One is positive, one is negative, and it adds up to be 19. We see positive 21 times negative 2, that's negative 42. And when we add positive 21, add negative 2, that's indeed 19. So M is 21, N is negative 2. All right, so we factored as x plus 21 times x minus 2. Right? 21, add a negative 2, that's positive 19. 21 multiply with negative 2, that's negative 42. Any questions? Let's see this one. Well, now it's a negative 19, negative 42. Well, we just have to switch the two signs. We get negative 21 and plus 2. Because negative 21 plus 2, that's negative 19. Negative 21 times 2, that's negative 42. Well, let's see this one. The middle term is negative 19RS. Then we have a 42S squared. All we have to do is just add S to the factor. Right, before we have x minus 21, x plus 2. Now we just have r minus 21s times r plus 2s. Right, so m is negative 21s, n is 2s. Anyone has any question? Similarly for this, right, m is 2s, n is 21s. When we add those two, we get 23 rs. Multiply 2 and 21 s, and we get 42s squared. Any questions? Okay, let's keep moving. Let's see this one. Negative 23 mn and 42n squared. So we know the two factors has to be both negative. Because negative adds negative is negative. Negative times negative it becomes positive. So that's negative 2n and negative 21n. Right. When we add those two, we get negative 23 mn, negative 3, negative 23, because negative 2 and negative 21 and negative 23 and then multiply them, we get a 42 n squared. Okay, let's keep moving. Something called the grouping method. Let's see, what is that? Let's see this first one, right? We could write down this, as 2x plus 2x. But we just split 4x into 2x, 2x. Then we group the first two. We can say we put these two in a group. Then we put these two in a group. Because everything is positive, we don't need to change signs when we put parentheses around. But then the first term has a common factor. Okay. The first time we see 2x is a common factor. 2x squared divided by 2x, that's 2x. And 2x factor out, we just have 2x plus 1. Then now you see these two expressions has common factor. So 2x plus 1 is a common factor. That means we can factor out 2x plus 1. Then parentheses take whatever left. So the first term left with 2x, the second term left with 1. The 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. Let's see this one. We have this, we have this. So we see both of them has x minus 7 as a common factor. So we got x minus 7. We put the rest inside the parentheses. So the first term left with 3x, the second term left with negative y. So that's x minus 7 times 3x minus 5. Let's see this one. We have x plus 3, so we want to factor out x plus 3. Then the first term left with negative 6x, the second term left with minus 7. Right? So we just read as x plus 3 times negative 6x minus 7. But when the both term is negative, we can factor out the negative sign up front. Let's see this one. We have z minus 7 as a common factor. So we factor out z minus 7. The first term left with az, we put inside the parentheses. The second term is positive 3. Then we close parentheses. So by doing so, we have a factored form, right? We have this binomial as a factor. We have this binomial as a factor. Not like before. Before we have loose term, we have this plus sign in the middle. Sometimes we only have part of the polynomials have a common factors. Let's see this example. Of xy plus 3y plus 2x plus 6. So we want to group them. We can group xy with 3y, group 2x plus 6. Then for the first group, we can factor out y, because y is a common factor. Then we have x plus 3 left. And the second term, we can factor out 2. Then we also have x plus 3. Then x plus 3 is a common factor of those two. So we factor out what's left. Inside parentheses is y plus 2. Anyone has any question? Okay. Let's see these ones. Excuse me. So we want to group them, right? We will group x squared with 3x. We group negative 2x with negative 6. So with the first group, we can factor out x. The second group, we can factor out negative 2. Then we see x plus 3 is common factor. So we factor out. What's left for the first one? X. What's left for the second one? Negative 2. So we write as x plus 3 times x minus 2. Let's see this one. We also want to group them 2 by 2. Sometimes we will not be lucky at the first try, but by doing trial and error. So 6x squared and negative 3x, we have a common factor of 3x. 6x squared divided by 3x, that's 2x left. Negative 3x divided by 3x, that's negative 1 left. With negative 4x plus 2, you can factor out negative 2. Factor out negative 2, we get a 2x minus 1. Now we have common factor of 2x minus 1 for those two expressions. So we factor out 2x minus 1, we put 3x minus 2 in another parenthesis. Anyone has any question? Let's see the next one. We group those two. We group those two. Group those two. We're looking for common factor, greatest common factor, which is 4x. The 4x squared divided by 4x, we have x left. Negative 36x divided by 4x, that's negative 9. The second group, we want to factor out negative 3. Factor out negative 3. We also have x minus 9. Now x minus 9 becomes common factor. So we write as x minus 9 times 4x minus 3. We have x squared plus 5x plus 6. We'll think about m and n. m plus n is 5. m times n is 6. They got to be 2 and 3. Okay, so that's x plus 2, x plus 3. All right, so just remember this. M plus m times x plus n equals x squared plus m plus n. X, the middle term is m plus n. The constant term is m multiplied by n. So x squared plus 5x plus 6, right? That's x plus 2 times x plus 3. So 2 plus 3 is 5. 2 times 3 is 6. Let's see this one. I think about m plus n equals 13. M times n is 30. There got to be 10 and 3, right? So factor as x plus 10, x plus 3. Negative 13x. We just change 10 and 3 to be negative. We have x minus 10 times x minus 3. Any questions? Let's see this one. For p squared minus 7p minus 30. Think about the factors of negative 30, right? Add together, we get negative 7. Multiply together, we get negative 30. It has to be negative 10 and 3. Because negative 10 times positive 3, that's negative 30. And negative 10 plus 3, that's negative 7. That's right. Negative 10 plus 3, that's negative 7. Now x squared minus 4x minus 21. So m plus n, negative 4, m times n, negative 21. It has to be negative 7 and 3. Because negative 7 plus 3, that's negative 4. Negative 7 times 3, that's negative 21. X squared plus 4x minus 21 is opposite to the above, right? The above is minus 4x minus 21. But now we get a positive 4x minus 21. So we have to switch negative 7 and 3. We switch it to be x plus 7 times x minus 3. Because 7 plus negative 3, that's positive 4. This one, r squared minus ars minus 9s squared. You want to simplify, you could just think r squared minus ar minus 9. Well, that's positive, that's a negative 9 plus 1, right? Because negative 9 plus 1, that's negative 8. Negative 9 multiplied by 1, that's negative 9. So it has to be r minus 9s and r plus s. Okay. So those are always the leading coefficient to be 1, right? You see this is 1x squared, 1x squared, 1r squared. But what do we do with the leading coefficient not be 1, but be a bigger number, like 6? So how do we do this? So remember, 6 we call A, 7 we call B, number 2 we call C, right? So we consider A multiplied by C. Well, A multiplied by C in this case is 12. That's 12. Then we think about what are factors of 12? And those two factors adds up to be 7. It has to be factors of 12 adds up to be 7. It has to be 3 and 4, right? It has to be 3 and 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 plus 4 is 7. So we need to think A times C now. We need to consider A the leading coefficient. So A times C is 12. And B is 7. So it has to be 3 and 4, right? Or what do we, another thing we can do is we can group them. We split 7x into 4x into 3x. Then we take the first two as a group, second two as a group. We factor them, put them in the factor form. 6x squared plus 4x, we get 2x times 3x plus 2. Then we see this one just 3x plus 2, right? Just do this. Plus 1 times 3x plus 2. Now 3x plus 2 is a common factor. So factor out 3x plus 2. What's left for the first term? That's 2x. What's left for the second term? That's plus 1. So it becomes 3x plus 2 times 2x plus 1. Any questions? Well, let's see this one. We have 6y squared plus 13y plus 2. Basically saying m plus n is 13, but m times n, oh, hold on. Remember this is A, B, C. C is 2, right? So m times n equals to A times C, which is 12. 2 times 6, which is 12. Then we think about how to break up into to get add to be 13, right? Because m plus n is 13. So what do? We want to 2 multiplied by 6y to get 12y, then y times 1 to be 1y, add together to be 13. So once we have those two factors, we can split 13y into this, 12y plus 1y, right? So group those two. We group those two. 6y squared plus 12y, 6y is a common factor. And then 1y plus 2, 1 is a common factor. So now we manufacture y plus 2 as a common factor. We can factor out. So that's y plus 2 times 6y plus 1. Anyone has any questions? Okay. Everyone try this one. ay plus 3 plus 4y squared. You know you have to write in order, right? You want to write in order as 4y squared plus ay plus 3. Why did the 6y come? Where did the 6y come from? Let's see. Let's see where is 6y come from. Okay, y plus 2 is a common factor, right? So when I factor out y plus 2 for the first term, what's left? Do you see the 6y left? So I put 6y here. When I factor out the second term, right, y plus 2, when I factor out the y plus 2 outside, what's left? You see there's plus 1 left, right? Sometimes you don't see this one. You don't see this one. If you don't see this one, that's by default 1 there. Does this make sense? Okay, all right. So let's all try this one. Ay plus 3 plus 4y squared. First, write them in order. All right, that's fast. 2y plus 1, 2y plus 3. Great. Great. Let's all go together. So we do a times c, right? A is a number before y squared. C is a number by itself. So a times c equals m times n, which is 4 times 3, which is 12. Right? 12, because the middle term is ay, because m plus n is 8. M plus n is 8. So we think about 12. Okay, 12, which two factors of 12 adds up to be 8? It has to be 2 and 6. So we split ay into 6y and 2y. Now we group them. We group the first two, we group the second two. Group the first two, we see 2y is a common factor, right? Group the second one, well, there's no common factor but 1, so we write 1 up front. So we see 2y plus 3 is a common factor, factor out. Then we see 2y left for the first one and 1 left for the second one. To put them in a factored form. Any questions? Wow. Okay. My son is in Netherlands, spend money left and right. I just received the notifications. Let's see this one. So this one, every term has a y in it. right? And every term has a 5 as common factor. So what do? We factor out the common factor for the 3 terms first. So we factor 5y, then 10y cubed divided by 5y, we have 2y squared. And then negative 55y squared divided by 5y, we have negative 11y left. 17y divided by 5y, we're left with 14. Now we see A is 2, C is 14, B is negative 11. And A times C is 2 times 14, which is 28. M plus N is negative 11. So we think about 2 factors, multiply to be, add together to be negative 11, but multiply to be 28. That has to be negative 4 and negative 7. Negative 4 times negative 7 is 28. Negative 4 add negative 7, that's negative 11. So then we split. So we split negative 11y as negative 4y and negative 7y. Then we factor again. Right? We put in the group, we put these 2 in the group, we put those 2 in the group, then factor the common factors, we factor the common factors. Then we see y minus 2 is a common factor. So 5y, y minus 2. Then we see 2y left for this, and minus 7 left for this. So we have 3 factors. So this trinomial will have 3 factors. Anyone has any questions about this? This one is a little bit more complicated. Okay, I want everyone to do this one. 18w cubed minus 39w squared plus 18w. Okay, everyone try this one. I see only a couple of students typing answers. What about the rest of you? The rest of you, please try or please ask questions. First, factor out the common factors of the 3 terms. Okay, I give you the answer. The answer 3w. Okay, let's see. Someone has it. 3w minus 2, 2w minus 3. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. All right. Oh, this include, okay, this has another section, section 6.3. Okay, so I need to include 6.3. 6.3, section 3 is saying some special factoring, like a difference of two squares, super important, right? A squared minus b squared can be factored as a minus b times a plus b. But if it's a plus, we cannot factor it. Let's see this. If we have 9z squared minus 16, the first one, 9z squared, can be written as 3z parentheses squared minus 4 squared. So that means a equals 3z, b equals 4. So we factor as 3z plus 4, 3z minus 4. If we have 9z squared minus 16p squared, 9z squared can be written as parentheses 3z squared. 16p squared can be written as 4p parentheses squared. So that's 3z plus p, 3z minus 4p. If we have 9z squared y minus 16y squared, we can factor out y squared because the y squared is common factor. Then we have 9z squared minus 16, so we factor as 3z plus 4, 3z minus 4. If we have 4w squared v to the fourth power minus 49x squared, we can write it as the first one is 2w squared parentheses squared. Then 49x squared can be written as 7x parentheses squared. So now we have a difference of two squares, right? That just equals to 2w squared plus 7x times 2w squared minus 7x. This is called the difference of two squares. Very useful. How useful? Let's see this example. If we have 1 million squared minus 999,999 squared, what do? We see difference of two squares. We got 1 million plus 999,999. Then 1 is minus. What's 1 million minus 999,999? That's 1. So it's just 1 times this. So we just get 1,999,999. Difference of two squares, very, very useful property. All right. We use a lot from this moment on. You know, as long as you do mathematics, you use this property all the time. All right, that's all I have to say today. Anyone has any questions? If you don't have any questions, you know, just go ahead, start your homework. All right. And yeah, and I see you on Thursday. If you do have questions, I'm still here. I can talk to you. Have a good day, Abraham. Yeah. Will it be common for us to have variables or numbers outside of the parentheses? Yes. Yeah. Common factor. Sometimes the three terms all have a common factor. You factor out. That's one way to simplify it. Thank you. Have a good evening. Yeah, thank you. Have a good day. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you. Thank you. Let me stop recording.